Hey everybody, it's Kat, and today we're going to be working in a sketchbook. Welcome back to Shells and Shrooms. So I don't know why I showed you my binder clip there, but yeah, that's a thing. I guess because I just use it to hold down the page for most of this. But yeah, today again we're just going to be kind of working in a sketchbook, very chill. I did end up fully rendering it, which wasn't something that I planned on doing, but you know, things happen sometimes. I guess also, if you're wondering, the binder clips are from Target, if you like, with a palette of mostly like pinks and peaches and reds and stuff like that with this piece. So I did, and I was also really excited because I got this thing called liquid pearls, which I'm going to be using a little bit later. And I had originally gotten this product because I wanted to water it down and use it on top of watercolors, kind of like a metallic kind of a finish on them. But I ended up deciding to not do that because I ended up getting a metallic watercolor set, and I decided to just use those as intended, which is to basically make kind of like a puffy kind of paint thing, like you know, puffy paint that you used when you were a kid. It was kind of like that, but it's for like pages and like artwork and stuff like that. I think it was originally meant for like stationery and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to kind of experiment with it, and I'm really glad that I got it and did, because I mean, it's not expensive or anything. I got like a 3-pack, I think, for $9. It came with like the original pearl, the original silver, and the original gold. But and I don't know if those are the actual shade names, but like that's what they look like, so I'm just going to call them that. But yeah, so I don't know, it's really cool. If you're interested in that, keep watching, because that comes a little bit later. But yeah, right now I'm basically just kind of mapping out the face and everything like that. I'm basically just refining the sketch to a point where I decide that it looks good enough that we can kind of like continue on with the process. So yeah, I'll be doing this for just a little bit. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to go ahead and mention what our monthly donation for March is going to be. I did have this in the description of our last video, but I didn't say anything about it, so I feel really bad. But I'm saying it now, so I guess better late than never. But this monthly donation for this month is Indigenous Peoples Movement. Indigenous Peoples Movement is a collective of various Indigenous peoples from all over the world, uniting to stand against and bring awareness to issues that directly affect their lands, peoples, and respective cultures. You can find Indigenous Peoples Movement on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, their own website, which is really cool because they also have merch, just saying. And they also have a PayPal, so if you would like to directly support them, you can donate to their PayPal, buy their merch, something like that. And if you want to learn more about them, you can visit their social media or their website. And yeah, they're super cool. It is something that is really important to me personally as an Indigenous person. I am Puerto Rican, but more specifically, I am Taino, and it is super important to me that, you know, our voices are heard and that we are kind of like, you know, given reparations, because, you know, we deserve it, just saying. But I really think it's cool what Indigenous Peoples Movement is about, you know, bunches of different people from different Indigenous cultures coming together. I think that that is the most important thing, and I think that that's really how, you know, we're going to be able to get our voices heard, is by uniting and standing together. And yeah, so if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and visit their website, their social media, any of that cool stuff. And also, if you would like to support them while also buying some cool art, we are donating 20% of our revenue for the month of March to them directly at their PayPal. So yeah, if that interests you and you want some cool art, check it out. If not, at least check them out and figure out what they're about and read up on that, because it's super important. And yeah, so getting back to the drawing, I'm starting to go ahead and ink, and I'm using like, it's kind of like a it looks brick red on the pin cap, but in reality it is more like a deep burgundy brown kind of a color. It looks very similar to black actually, like on the colors and everything, just like a little bit lighter. So that's why I wanted to use it, because I didn't want to use black specifically in this piece, because again, I wanted to keep it very colorful. That's another thing that I'm kind of going for in my art recently, is more color, because looking back, at least before, I'm gonna say the end of last year, I very much had like super monochromatic kind of art. It was very like fine liners that are black ink, and you put a little bit of, you know, maybe some gray tones with some colored pencils or a graphite pencil or whatever. Like it was very monotone, and like it might have had like a pop of like a red or like something like that, but it wasn't very colorful at all. And I've always really liked color, but I feel like I'm just now getting to a point where like I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if that really makes sense, like not in the sense of like using color, but like in the sense of like I very much used to shy away from colors because I was in an emo phase, and I'm getting out of that is basically what I'm saying. So if you guys can relate to that, like please let me know, because I really hope I'm not the only one who's going through that. But I've been having a lot of fun kind of working with color recently in my sketchbook, which maybe I'll show you guys, you know, when I finish my sketchbook and eventually make a sketchbook tour. And I do kind of want to like eventually have a video showing, you know, my old art and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely let me know. I can go all the way back to like the DeviantArt days, if you guys remember DeviantArt. So yeah, that could be potentially embarrassing, but I'm up for it to see the growth. But anyway, now I'm going to, well, I am right now filling in the starting of, you know, the colors, the highlights, the shading, all of that. And I definitely wanted to keep it very light at first, because I wanted to be able to kind of have those like different layers of like different colors and everything, add more dimension. And I really wanted to do something that like kind of looked like a peach, which I think you can kind of see a little bit later. I'll end up bringing in a super light yellow colored pencil to add in like the highlight areas, and it looked really peachy and nice at that point. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was going for with the face. And then eventually I'm going to do the background. Like it's gonna be like a pretty simple background. I knew that I wanted to have like some kind of like words or like a phrase or something. Very vague, but again, we are working in a sketchbook, so I wasn't really, you know, trying to plan everything out like super detailed or anything, which, you know, it's how you work in a sketchbook. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of starting to run out of things to talk about, so yeah, I don't know. So here I'm starting to add in the shading for like the jawline and everything like that. Again, working from, for some reason I go from like the lightest colored pencils. I don't know what my coloring process for this was. I was just kind of trying to figure it out. I had been working with construction paper, actually. I had cut out a couple different pieces to put on like different pages in my sketchbook, because originally it was supposed to be a sketchbook that had like prompts in it, very like inspired by like Inktober and stuff like that. Because when I first got the sketchbook, I was in a really bad art block, and I was just kind of trying to figure out like anything at all to draw. So I ended up turning this into a prompt sketchbook, and the first 8 pages are just prompt lists. And then I went through, and at the top of like every left-hand page, I wrote like the prompt list number, the prompt number itself, and then the prompt word, so that I could like kind of keep track of like which page was what and everything, which at the time seemed at the time, it seemed like a great idea, but eventually it almost felt like I was like boxing myself in, because I was like trying to make art solely based on prompts all the time, and it just wasn't fun anymore. So I just decided to kind of revamp and like redo the whole thing. So I had actually been doing like full color, but like with a very specific color palette, like this kind of a art style vibe, whatever, but I was doing it on colored construction paper, like not even like colored paper, construction paper, because it's what I had. And I ended up realizing that construction paper is actually like really nice, in my opinion, to work with colored pencils on, because it is a little bit textured, and like when you're trying to create, you know, the gradients of like light and like where it hits on a face and everything, it was very helpful because it was a little bit textured and it kind of mimicked skin a little bit more. But also, like for example, I'll throw up a picture of the green girl that I did. The paper itself was already green, so there was already sort of like a mid-tone there, so I was basically using the colored pencils to add in the highlights and the shadows on the face, but the mid-tone is already there like as a base for me. So going from that to then getting to a point where like there were blank pages in the sketchbook and I could just use the sketchbook paper, I was kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to map it out without having that mid-tone there to begin with. So yeah, trying to figure out my coloring process for this was a little difficult, and I kind of just did it as I went. Again, very on a whim. We're working in a sketchbook, it's okay. But yeah, so I ended up going from like lightest to darkest, but then I ended up going back and like doing a little bit more. So for a while it's gonna look like a little bit washed out, but then I do decide to like go in and like actually deepen colors, actually show those colors in the truest form on there, like putting so much pressure on the colored pencils that like you could see like the shine that happens when you like the paper is full of colored pencil. Yeah, I went like that in with them eventually, just to kind of like get it to where I wanted it to be. And even so, like I definitely think like if I had thought about the fact that I wasn't using a colored paper this time earlier, I definitely would have been able to go in and like push that a little bit further, but it is what it is. I'm not mad at it. I still really like this piece, and I'm glad that I did it, because again, it's a learning curve sometimes if you don't think about things, which I don't. So yeah, but it was really fun and I'm really glad that I did it, and I'm very proud of it. And as you'll see at the end, like it does get like really fun and I just kind of like do whatever. But yeah, so something else I wanted to mention is I didn't upload last week. The reason I didn't upload last week is because I ended up slamming my hand in a car door, which was a lot of fun, haha. Anyway, so I didn't get a chance to edit the footage and like all that other stuff that I was gonna do because my hand was hurting. So anyway, I wanted to, you know, kind of mention why there wasn't a video last week, first of all, and second of all, mention that like if my hand looks a little weird in the upcoming videos, that is why, but everything's fine. My hand is perfectly fine, and yeah, it's all good. Oh my goodness. So I was just sitting here and I remembered that while I was drawing this, I was watching Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter, however you like to say it, because at this point, who even knows, who even cares? But I had literally just finished the Greed Island arc, and I sat and I watched the Chimera Ant arc pretty much all the way through, not only while I was doing this, but like throughout the day and like while I was, you know, waiting for stuff to render and whatever. Can I just say, like, I had seen the memes and, you know, I'd seen people talk about like how heartbreaking it was, but I was not prepared. I still was not prepared at all. And I was really sad afterwards. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you guys have watched it. And like, yeah, I still have the last season to go. Or not the last season, the last arc, whatever, to go. So it's just a little bit more. But I haven't started on that yet because I just felt like I needed some time. So like in the meantime, I decided to watch something a little bit more lighthearted. I ended up watching Nozaki. I think it's actually Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki. I don't know. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I was watching that too. Because, again, I just needed a little bit of a break. Because I had also watched and finished Parasite right before going into the Chimera Ant arc. So it was just, like, a lot all at once. But it was so, like, cute and, like, funny. And, like, I feel like if you are an artist, like, a lot of the things that, like, they'll do, like, the thing with the boxes and, like, stuff like that, like, you'll definitely relate on. I don't know, it's like really funny and really cute and really lighthearted. And also, I just really appreciate that the prince of the school, or the prince of the drama club, whatever they called her, like, was a girl. Like, oh my god, that's so cool. Definitely jealous, definitely want that to be me. But yeah, I don't know, it was just like a nice little show. I definitely recommend it if you like shoujo, because it's really, really cute and really, like, you know, just lighthearted, a nice little thing to watch. And it's really funny. So yeah, I also was thinking about going ahead and actually legitimately trying to watch JoJo, because I started watching it. I think I got into like the 5th episode or something and then just completely forgot about it pretty much. So I think I'm gonna go back and watch that too. And then my girlfriend and I are going to start watching Attack on Titan together, because one of her friends recommended it to her, and so now we're like, yes, let's watch it. But we also we've been watching Food Wars, which has been really nice too. I wasn't sure, like, I'd watched it, but I wasn't sure how she was gonna react to it, because it was very much like, you know how like anime can be sometimes, where it's like really just anime and weird. Not weird, I don't want to say weird, but like, you know, it's anime. But I wasn't sure, because, you know, some people like that kind of anime, and some people like the anime that's like, you know, Fullmetal Alchemist, where it's pretty much like a show with like a storyline and everything. I mean, I guess all anime are shows with storylines, but like, you know what I mean? Like it more closely resembles like a Western kind of like a storyline. And it doesn't have like as much of like the like anime things in it, if you know what I'm saying. But like, no, like, we both really love it, and I'm really glad because it's such a good show. And I really like the way that they portray like the people eating food, because like, I don't know, like, food is so good, and like, it's, I don't know, like, it's food and it's really delicious, and it's just funny to see like the way that they like do that, and it's really like cool to me. I don't know, I just really like it. I think it's a cool show. But yeah, so that's kind of what we've been, and Demon Slayer. I also watched Demon Slayer and The Promised Neverland. Oh my gosh, if you guys have not watched The Promised Neverland and you like horror anime, do it immediately. It's so good. You will not regret it. Season 2 is like coming out week to week right now, and it's very good. I haven't gotten a chance to watch season 2, but I'm about to start that because I just finished Nozaki and now I'm ready to get back into it. But yeah. So that's kind of what we've been watching. Oh, and I didn't say anything about Demon Slayer. I mentioned it and didn't say anything. I really liked Demon Slayer. I liked the whole, like, oh, they're like the different ones, like she's not gonna do anything. Like I really liked that kind of a storyline. And I liked the way that they like, I thought it was cute that like they gave her the ability to like shrink and like grow like that. That was like really cute and also like really convenient to the plot, obviously, but like she just looks so cute when she's all tiny. And yeah, I don't know, the characters are so like interesting and charming, except for I don't even remember this dude's name. Jesus, let me just look it up, because if not I'm going to scream. The one that has the blonde hair. Give me a minute. I'm on Google. I'm looking it up. I promise y'all I've actually watched it. But yeah, I don't know, like it's a really good show. I just, why is Demon Slayer good for 12-year-olds? Something that was Googled. I don't know. Anyways. I liked the show. Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember his name, but yeah, blonde dude. I didn't like him very much, but everyone else I thought was super interesting. I like the way that they did the villains, especially when it was the like spiders, the like spider demon things that were in the forest. Like I really liked that whole setup that they did with them, how they were like a family. Oh, sorry, there are spoilers. I'm definitely spoiling things. Don't listen if spoilers. I will actually put that on screen where it was supposed to have been, but yeah. Yeah, anyway, I really liked how they did that whole like family dynamic and everything, and like what the story behind that was and everything. I thought that was super interesting and really cool how they did that. Anyway, good show. Also, I really wish that I could have a sword that like changed color when I like, you know, started using it. Like that was really cool. And like I kind of like, it's like you always wonder about like what your thing would be in those like fantasy universes. Like, you know, like everyone did the whole Harry Potter tests and like, are you in what thing are you in Divergent, and like the Hunger Games, like whatever, like all those things. Like it's so interesting to like sit and like think about like what quote unquote like category you would be in, or like what color your lightsaber would be, and like all these different things, you know. I don't know, it's just cool, because I don't know, like I always think that it's super cool to have like custom things, and I think that like that's something that really appeals to me about fantasy, is that like I feel like you almost always have like custom things. Like you have your own custom attacks, and you have your own custom like armor, or your like custom weapons, and like it's just super cool. And yeah, so that's, I think, one of the most interesting things to me about fantasy worlds. I don't know how we got onto this topic from, I don't know, but yeah, I think that is super cool. I've honestly been kind of like thinking about trying to like make some kind of like OC for myself, but I'm also like, I don't know, should I don't know, because I don't even know what kind of a fantasy environment I would really like want to be in the most. I think they're all super interesting and cool. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the drawing now. It's been a minute. So I'm going back and I'm basically filling in the eyes, doing a little bit of the, you know, filling in the nostrils, like that kind of a thing. And I'm about to go in and work on the eyes a little bit more in a second after I fill in the lips. I did feel like the shading that I did on the lips kind of like got washed out behind the orange, but like it does also kind of show a little bit. So I don't know. I think like you can definitely see it. It did it enough, I guess. But in retrospect, I definitely wish that I had gone in and like, you know, kind of done a little bit more there, but it's fine. So I guess I was wrong. I guess I was going back in with the skin tone again. So this is what I mean, like how I started out with the light and then went to the dark, but then also went back in with the light later. This is exactly what I mean. But yeah, I'm going back in with like that light peachy kind of tone, and then basically just like filling in that like median skin tone base color. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but yeah. And then yeah, the yellow colored pencil right there, that's what I was talking about earlier. And you can kind of see, yeah, you're kind of seeing it kind of get a little bit more peachy now, and it definitely, like, I was really enjoying that part. I was like, ooh, that looks so good. But yeah, just kind of like going in, finishing up the skin tone. I basically kind of wanted to keep the yellow part on like the lightest part of the highlights, because I figured if I was gonna try and make it look a little peachy, it might like be lost under like the darkness of like the pinks and reds that were going for the shadows, you know? So I was like, I don't know if I want to like take it down too far, but I think that also kind of like helped it keep that like peachy effect in the end of it. So I guess that was like a good idea. But yeah, going in and doing that. So again, like at this point, I kind of just worked from lightest to darkest again, and I really wanted that yellow to shine through. So I went over it just a couple of times, and you can kind of see again the little shine I was talking about that you were gonna see. Like I was really bearing down with these colored pencils. Like I kind of had a little bit of a hand cramp afterwards, but I think it was worth it. Yeah. So I just finished having the best lunch ever. I was sitting here and I was editing and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting kind of hungry. And I was gonna put it off, but then I was like, you know what, no. So if you guys haven't eaten today, or if you're putting off eating right now, this is your reminder to go and eat, because you should, and you deserve to, and it's okay. But anyway, I had a Havarti grilled cheese with Dukes on it, and then I like toasted it again with Dukes because duh, it's really good. And I also had some tomato soup with some spinach, and normally I would put a little bit of basil, but we were out of basil, so I put like oregano and onion and ginger. I mean, not ginger, garlic. Sorry, I was thinking about ginger tea. But yeah, so it was a good lunch. Yeah, and like, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. I was just sitting here like looking at this and I was like, huh. I guess maybe the colors were making me like want tomato soup. Who knows? But yeah. So I'm doing a little bit more of the rendering now. Just going in, adding some more of those deeper tones and everything. The little details that I'm doing around the eyes, just to like, you know, make them pop a little bit more, add some dimension to them. And then I'm actually going in and adding a little bit more blush, because to me it looked like, I don't know, a little too sculpted. Maybe like it needed a little something, you know, to kind of like be a little bit more of a buffer between the highlights and the, you know, the shadows and everything. So yeah. And then now the pupils, which I just used the same color that I used to outline the whole, you know, all the line art and everything the same. And now I'm using the, I believe that's the Signo Uniball, I think. I have one right here. Let me just look at it, honestly. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, the Signo Uniball. And I actually got like these specific ones in a pack of like 5 on Amazon just a little bit ago, kind of, you know, towards the beginning of quarantine, because I was like, I don't want to have to go out and buy stuff all the time, you know, so just like get a little stock of them. But I didn't know when I bought them that they were gonna be the ones that had the Japanese packaging, and that was a nice little surprise, because I actually like the packaging of the Japanese one just a little bit more. Like, it looks like more aesthetically pleasing to me, but the picture had like the English version in it, so I just figured those were going to be the ones that I would get, but they weren't. But again, no complaints here. And this is also my first time buying these. I was using the jelly roll ones because, you know, I could find them at like my local store or whatever. But I don't know, I'd seen a lot of YouTube videos of people like using these and being like, oh, I like these a lot, so I just figured I'd try them out, and they are now my favorites. I definitely still use the jelly roll, but not quite as much. I'll probably like use them as like in between, like when I run out of the ink in the Signo ones and then like haven't gone to get other ones yet. But anyway, now I'm working on the eyes again, and I did do a little bit of rim lighting with the white gel pen as well. But I really wanted to have like that hot pink eyeliner on her eyes just to add like a little something. And then I always do dramatic lashes because I like dramatic lashes. Like, it doesn't matter, like I love dramatic lashes, I'm gonna do them. And then I just decided to use that same pink as the background color because I don't know, I just like that color pink. And I think it like works really well with like the rest of the piece and everything. So right now I'm just going in and filling that in. I did end up going over it twice because the first was just a little bit streaky. And again, like these are watercolor markers. These aren't alcohol-based markers or anything like that. So it is a little bit streakier, again, because it's water-based. So yeah, just 2 coats of that did well for me. I like looking back, like you can definitely still see like a little bit of the lines, like, you know, where you're like layering over a little bit when you're like scribbling or whatever, but it's not too bad. And like in person, it's definitely not as noticeable as it is on camera, and that's probably just because, you know, all the lights and everything. But yeah, it looks nice to me and I like that color with it, so I was like, all right, let's just do it. So yeah, and I at this point was kind of trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do with the background because I knew I still wanted to use the liquid pearls. And then also it kind of like threw me off because I wasn't thinking about the fact that I had that huge black stripe of Sharpie at the top. So when I went to fill that in, it kind of, you know, dragged a little bit of the black marker down into the hot pink. And again, that wasn't something I was expecting. I don't know why, but, you know, it kind of threw me off. So I was like, all right, how do I like, you know, take away from that so like you don't look at that part a little bit too much, you know? So I eventually was like, all right, let's just use the liquid pearls as like part of the background too. Because my original plan was to just use it for accents like on the actual character. But here you can see I pulled out the silver and I started to fill in. And I started to fill in the earrings with it. I kind of knew from the beginning that I wanted the crescent moon earrings to be that silver color, just because I had like this idea of like these cool witchy earrings, and that was the base for them that I, you know, thought about. Something that I didn't think about until I was actually using the liquid pearls was that I was gonna have to wait for the layers to dry, because if not, I was definitely going to smudge them, because I always end up dragging my hand along my artwork, which is like a habit I should probably get out of, but it's hard to get out of. So I definitely started like moving it around a lot to kind of like get to where I needed to put each of the colors and everything. So I'm gonna be twisting it around a little bit, sorry about that. But yeah, I thought about it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to wait. So I actually ended up doing the earrings and the little ring around her head at the same time. Waited about like 5 hours just to be safe, and then came back and did. the line that I'm doing right now, and all of the dots and the necklace and everything. So yeah, it definitely took a long time once I got to the point where I was actually using the liquid pearls, but I definitely don't regret it at all. I think that if you're looking for something like interesting that you can just add like a little extra something to like your pieces, or like just something in your sketchbook, or just want something like fun and new to play around with that kind of like feels nostalgic for your childhood but also just a little bit more like dressed up, I would definitely suggest these because they're very fun to work with. And like I said before, like even on the packaging and everything, it says that you can use water to kind of like thin them out a little bit, and like you can use them to like paint over things and stuff like that. Like you don't have to use it straight from the bottle. So it is a very versatile thing as well, which I think is super cool, and I always love things that I can use for multiple purposes because that just makes it a lot of fun for me personally. So yeah, I think that if you're looking for something cool and fun and interesting that you've not tried before, that might be a fun little addition. I think that this is definitely the thing for you. And they have other colors besides just the pearl, silver, and gold, but that's the ones that I liked. I know they have like, I don't know, I was about to say fashion colors, like this was hair school or something. I like, they have like colors too, like they have like pink and purple and blue and like whatever. So yeah, they have like a ton of different ones, but it's really fun to just kind of sit and work with them and everything. At this point, I was still trying to decide what to do with the background, so I just kept working on the actual character and like the headdress and just little details and stuff like that, because again, like I still didn't know quite what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to leave the little space at the bottom right underneath her necklace free for like a word or something, and I couldn't think of anything else, so I just did dots. But it kind of looked like studs to me when I was finished with it, so I thought that that was really cool and I really appreciated it. It kind of felt like a nod to the style that I used to like, which was like studs on everything. Like at one point I had made this pair of shoes. They were supposed to be like the Hellraisers loafers that they had. I can't remember the brand, but they basically just had like spike studs all over them, and they were so cute and they were so expensive, and I did not have the money to get them, but I really wanted a pair of shoes like that. So I literally went and bought spike studs and studded a pair of loafers that I got from the thrift store on my own. And they were my favorite shoes ever. Looking back, I definitely could have done a better job on them, but anyway, I don't know, this background reminded me of them, so it was really cool and I liked it. And that is pretty much the end. I hope that you liked watching this video. Please like it if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to. Again, check out the monthly donation down in the description. I'll also have links to our social media and all that other good stuff, and their social media and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.